In the last video, I told you the Porsche Cup was the great equalizer. Same car, same everything, no excuses, just driver against driver. What I didn't mention is what happens when you take all the excuses away. There's nothing left to blame but the bloke holding the wheel. No fast car to point at, no meta to moan about, just me consistently finding new and inventive ways to throw away lap time. So this is the video where the level playing field I was so smug about 2 weeks ago decided to teach me a lesson, and what I did about it. It didn't start badly. First couple of corners, the usual demolition derby kicks off ahead of me, and I pick my way through it cleanly. Guy ahead of me runs too deep into South Bend, and I just keep my foot in it. A monster move up the inside, one of the best moves I've made in a long time. I should have stopped there, really. Quit the race, banked the highlight, gone to bed a hero. Instead, next lap. Right on the back of the car ahead into turn 1, I swing wide for the move and completely forget that cold tyres and cold brakes don't care about my ambitions. Straight into the dirt. 3 positions gone, nearly a 4th. Couple of laps later, NASCAR bend. I do it again. Same lack of patience, similar patch of grass, another position handed back. Lap 8, I overcook Oak Tree and nearly have a very personal moment with the barrier that I somehow survive. Lap 9, not even a full lap later, I throw it into a drift so spectacular I end up entering the grass backwards, which is at least a new way of getting there. And then, as if I hadn't done enough damage to myself, this happens. I'll let you draw your own conclusions about how accidental that was. I spent the rest of the race in the pit lane, filed a report soon after and turned the sim off for the day. Same car as everyone else, no excuses, and I'd just spent 10 laps proving the problem wasn't the equipment after all. So after sulking for a day, I did something I don't usually do. Instead of just loading back in and hoping for a better day and a better result, I actually tried to work out what was going wrong. Full disclosure, I'm working with Almeida Racing Academy. There's a link in the description if you want to try this out for yourself and help support the channel. However, I've sat on the offer for months because I wasn't going to recommend something I hadn't tested myself, and well, it turns out I should have tried it sooner. There's loads of information available with the Academy, car handling, racecraft, whole courses on individual cars, brake trainers, more than I expected and more than I could sensibly work through in a week. So rather than try to fix everything at once, which, let's be honest, is how I got into this mess, I picked one thing, the coaching videos, and specifically a section on vision technique. The video happened to be at VIR too, which is the exact track that had just made a fool of me, so it made sense. Now, I already look ahead, and I do already try my best not to drive around with my eyes closed, unlike a lot of people I've seen on track. Anyone who's ridden a motorcycle knows the feeling. You look where you want to go, and the bike follows. I thought I had that part covered on the sim, but this went a lot deeper than that. It wasn't just look at the next corner, it was about picturing where you want the car to be, how one corner flows into the next, planning a corner or two in advance, not just looking at them, seeing the sequence, not just the apex in front of you. But that one idea was the thing I took away and actually drilled into my subconscious. So I spent some actual time on it, not flat out hero laps, just lapping, deliberately working on where my eyes were going, what planning I was doing in my head, especially through the corners that had embarrassed me last time. I turned off the delta bar and just focused on putting what I'd learned to the test. It felt slow. It felt unnatural. I wasn't used to driving towards the outside exit curb without having my eyes on it. My eyes were already halfway up the track planning the next move. I'd turned the delta bar off completely. No numbers, no nagging, just me trying to actually apply what I'd learned. And it wasn't until I turned it back on, many laps later, that I realised what had happened. I'd dropped time in every single sector. That's nearly a second and a half quicker. My optimum was over 2 seconds faster. Now, some of that is just laps. I'd run a lot of them, and you'll always find time through sheer repetition. I'm not going to pretend one coaching video turned me into Verstappen overnight. But here's the thing that actually mattered, and it wasn't the lap time. I hadn't spun once in about 30 laps. Not once. The same driver who 24 hours earlier had found roughly 6 different ways to end up in the scenery, suddenly just wasn't binning it anymore. First, qualifying. Last time I came here, I put it off track on my hot lap and started near the back. This time, I kept it clean and qualified 3 seconds faster, 5th on the grid, which naturally I then did my best to completely undo. Lights out, and the usual VIR welcome party kicks off behind. Someone arrives at turn 1 with the finesse of a shopping trolley and wipes a car clean out. I survived that. What I don't survive is this. The guy ahead tries to cut across for a move, gets it wrong and stands on the brakes mid-slide. I've got 2 choices. Rear-end him or bail. I bail and end up doing a graceful 180 onto the grass facing the wrong way. And here's the difference between me and a certain someone from the last race. I wait for the track to be clear before rejoining, like a functioning adult. It costs me 14 places. So, vision training, 3 days of homework, and I'm sat in 16th, having spun on lap 1. Turns out one coaching video doesn't make you a professional quite yet. Who knew? Although, small mercy. One of the guys who cheerfully nipped past while I was sat waiting on the grass. 1 lap later, he spins in the exact same corner and gets to watch me sail past him from the exact same patch of grass, 1 place back. And then I start actually driving. I reel in the car ahead, get right on his gearbox down the back straight, flash my nose up the inside and fake a move. I'm fully prepared to back out, but he just lets me through, lifts off and waves me by. I'll take it. And this is where I start to feel it. The car's underneath me, tyres and brakes up to temperature, eyes already up the road, planning 2 corners ahead instead of panicking about the one I'm in. Consistent, calm, time to start pushing. And then I met another award-winning driver, specifically the winner of the Idiot of the Day award. This man gets punted off, and rather than rejoin sensibly, or, here's a thought, turn around, he decides to reverse, backwards, for about 50 feet across the grass verge, then rejoins the racing line in reverse, nearly collecting both me and the driver ahead in one go. We somehow both get past unscathed. A few corners later, I'm hunting the next car down. I think about a lunge into South Bend, but I'm not quite close enough. So I wait, bide my time, get a better run down to the double right-hander and send it up the inside. Clean, committed, done. And by lap 5, I'm up into 11th. And there's one more car drifting back towards me on the Delta. This is where I meet Tom. Tom and I are about to spend the next 10 laps getting to know each other very well. Within a lap, I've taken nearly a second out of him. And this is the bit that would have been impossible a week ago. I'm not chasing him, I'm studying him. Where he's strong, where he's weak, where I'm quicker. He's slower through South Bend, I'm gaining loads of time on him, but it's not the easiest place to overtake. But I'm faster in the last section of corners too. That's my way in. All I have to do is be close enough on the exit to get a run down the straight. Simple. Except for one problem. I can't find a toe off this guy to save my life. I get right into his draft, tuck him behind, wait for the slingshot, and nothing. No matter how close I get, the straight just doesn't give me anything. And if I get too close through the corners before it, he slows me up, ruins my exit, and I get an even worse run. And that's exactly how it goes wrong the first time. I'm all over him into the final corners, I go for it, and my own worry comes true. He's slow, I'm too close, I have to bail on the brakes to avoid punting him, and I get a dreadful run onto the straight. Advantage gone. So I'm faster, I just can't prove it right now. So I reset, chip the gap back down, half a lap every time, and then I make a properly stupid decision. I fake him wide into turn 1, switch to the inside and try to mug him on the brakes. Brave, committed. Also completely beyond the car's ability to stop. I'm straight into the ABS, understeering across his line like a shopping trolley with a mind of its own, and he calmly switches back underneath me and stays ahead. Vision training? Excellent. Brake training? Clearly next on the list. But here's where it gets good, because Tom, unlike half the grid today, actually knows how to race. I get an overlap on him through NASCAR Bend. I've got the inside for the left-hander, and he hints he might turn in, so I lift, because I'd quite like to finish the race. But then he leaves me the room. So we go through 2 wide, side by side, neither of us lifting, totally clean. No contact, no nonsense, just 2 people racing properly. After the race I had before, it almost feels unbelievable. And that becomes the pattern. He gets a sniff of a gap. I claw it back within half a lap. Neither of us cracks. We both pick off a few cars, bidding it ahead, but relative to each other. Him in front, me glued to his mirrors. Nothing changes. Until traffic. I think this is it. This is where I use the cars ahead to force the move. Turn 1, I go wide. Tom dives to the inside, straight into where I knew the traffic would be. Perfect. Except it doesn't slow him down even slightly. And now there's just 4 of us nose to tail around the lap, one of whom keeps vanishing and reappearing like a horror movie, frightening the life out of me, and I'd like to think Tom too. And that, more or less, is how it stayed. Right to the flag, him ahead, me still trying. I never overtook him. A week ago that sentence would have annoyed me. 10 laps of battling, faster the whole time, and I couldn't make a move stick. But that's not what I took away from it. Because the version of me from the first race, the one finding 6 different ways into the grass, doesn't last 10 laps wheel to wheel with anyone. He spins on lap 2, blames the car and turns the sim off. This version raced hard, made one genuinely stupid move, and the rest of the time just didn't throw it away. That's the whole difference. Not the lap time, the fact that I could hold it together when it actually mattered. So, shout out to Tom wherever you are. Cleanest, closest race I've had in iRacing, and you earned staying ahead. But next time I'm having you. So again, if you do fancy trying the Academy out for yourself, the link's in the description, costs you nothing extra, and genuinely helps the channel keep going. I'm not fixed, I'm still going to bin it next week, probably spectacularly, and you'll all get to watch. But for the first time in a while, I feel like I'm actually getting better, instead of just getting more laps in.
Great racing, Tom. Yeah, thanks, man. That was great fun. Thank you.
I'll see you on the grid next time.